And in April of 2023, there was a group that met at Whole Foods just from word of mouth and next door communication. And this has been a very, very exciting year for me because we've come from, what do we do to look at this? And we are able to help to educate the citizens of Jackson, Mississippi on why it is so important to vote, what are the issues that are out there, and why we need to vote. I'm recruiting as we speak tonight. I found an old friend who's just moved back, and I said, you're perfect for this spot that we have tonight. Okay, so I have lived in Jackson most of the time since 1972.
Jump in the mic.
And I was going to make a joke and say, that's before most of you were born, but that's not true. We know tonight. We need to get those that were not born in 1972 to see that the future of Mississippi rests in the city of Jackson. Alan Cole and I have become friends. That's one of the reasons why I have had so much fun this year, is I've met so many wonderful people. And Alan Cole is the one that helped us to get this place this evening. And he gave me a word picture when we met, and I said, Alan, I'm going to be using that all over the state of Mississippi. It's going to be over and over, and this is the picture. Visualize it with me. It's July 4th day. There are many, many people outside around the reservoir under big trees, picnic tables, chairs, watermelon, having fun. And they're having fun because in Mississippi you look for the shade, don't you? Right? Okay. But you know what? There is one person that's having fun at this July 4th event that thinks about the trunk of that tree. It just seems inconsequential to what they're doing. And our purpose with Jacksonians for Jackson is that we educate people that the trunk of the tree must be healthy or there are no branches to enjoy. The state of Mississippi will collapse if Jackson does not hold its weight. It does not rise to be the state capital that it was intended to be. And you are here tonight because you are concerned about that as well. I am very pleased because this is a kickoff for a man that really doesn't need much introduction. Kim Wade has been on the radio 5 days a week. How many years?
33.
33 years. I believe he knows our city, he loves our city, and we are here to find out what kind of positive things can we bring to the table that will help this city move in a direction that's healthy. We demand a vibrant capital city. And that's not asking for much, is it? No, that's who we are and that's what we need. And so I am going to now turn this over to Kim. Now, this is not here by accident. Jacksonians for Jackson is a grassroots. And we need money in order to be able to have venues like this so that we can include people and invite people and introduce them to the candidates that are going to be running not only for mayor but for city council and all the other things. We'll do this at the beginning and at the end. Please do not forget the basket, okay? Now, we try to keep these meetings to an hour. When it gets to about 45 minutes, Kim would like for you to open it up for questions if you can. I think that's the only way you can really get to know a candidate, if you can ask questions. And we have found that we've done that in the past. It's really been helpful, and it gets energy in the room, and that's what we're wanting. Okay? Thank you.
Well, I thank you, Val, for putting this on and bringing us all together this evening. I'm here to talk about my candidacy for the mayorship of Jackson. Now, let me be clear. The reason why I had said it's unofficial because of FEC requirements. I intend to stay on the radio during my campaign. I've invited candidates, anybody who's running for mayor, they're welcome to come in, sit in. I can either interview them, they can do their own time, bring their own interviewer. The mayor has received an invitation to do the very same thing. Because my thing is, I want the ideals to go forward. As you're sitting here tonight, let me be clear, I'm not going to ask not one of you for your vote. I might ask you for some money, but I'm not going to ask you for any votes. But here's the reason why. I want you to evaluate the ideals that are going to be presented. Jackson's in a rut. Actually, it's worse than that. And we need some new ideas. We cannot continue to go in the same direction we've been going. And so what I am offering is to bring forth some ideas in which I will be the standard bearer for. I don't want it to get caught up in the cult of personalities. I don't want people to think that, I'm going to withhold my vote from you. No, if you're really for the betterment of Jackson, you'll evaluate these ideas and say, I'm for that. I can do that. Let's do that. But if it's just all about personality, then we're going to be back to square one. And I'm telling you that we're better than it. One of the reasons why I had thought about running for the mayorship was because we are living below our training. We're living below the way I was raised, the values that I was reared on, and I'm sure you're the same way. So I'm saying, why are we allowing the slowest wagon in the wagon train to dictate our quality of life? So that's why I made the decision to run. I'm sitting back thinking, and I'm going to get to the platform. I'm sitting back thinking, they're in the city of Canton. They've had a $3 billion investment put on their doorstep, Nissan. Then they had another $3 billion with the Amazon distribution plant. Then another $10 billion coming in with Amazon, the data center. I want somebody to give me a scorecard. At what point do all the people who say that we need job training programs, we need this, kids, need education, and need funding for this, all that is it, everything. And so yet they keep coming back saying, well, we're still living in poverty, it's because it's a state ran by the red or red by the blue. Think about it though. Madison's growing, Gluckstadt's growing, Richland's growing. So we have to ask the other stakeholders, guys, we need a little bit more candor from you. What's wrong? Why can't you turn this into some wins? And if we don't have that question, the next 4 years is going to be just like the last 40. And what I'm saying to you, we're going to have that conversation. I will be the standard bearer for that conversation to be had. Because if not, they're going to go on with what we need, more midnight basketball, more this, that, and that. We're not doing that anymore. Not only are we doing it, I met with Jake Wendell today, I met with Mary, I met with Phil, I'm going to meet with Richard down in Byram. I'm meeting with everybody. Because I want to know, what are you seeing when you look across the river at Jackson? What do you know about governance that I need to be aware of? I am not some leader, some great leader, no. I'm there to manage assets. We've got assets that are not performing. The first 4 years is going to be about tightening up the ship of state, putting in place generally accepted accounting principles in every department. Mayor Wyndham was saying when he took office over there were 1,700 checks floating out there with no PO numbers assigned to them. Can you imagine what we're going through here in the city of Jackson? So it's not rocket science, and I'm not a bean counter, but we're going to hire some folks who are going to do it. Having said that, there's going to be a lot of tough conversations that are going to have to be had. We're going to have it. We're adults. We're going to have to assert our authority. We're going to hear the squabble. When anybody raised more than one child in the household, they know you done heard you're more favorite to that person, all that kind of foolishness. But they get over it, they realize that You met them well. We're going to do the same thing here. The adults are home. We're back in charge. So what we're going to be doing as we address the problems of Jackson, people say, well, Kim, what about bringing everybody together? I'm going to be honest with you guys, if that's what you're looking for in me, I'm not that huckleberry. I'm not. But what I will try to do is bring people together on what's best for Jackson. And that's why I said, if people want to get sideways about who I am and my record and Trump supporter and all that, I'm not running from that. That's who I am. Because integrity is what's lacking in this whole process. So if I get out there and start denying Trump, people know that I'm just in it for the job. I'm not doing it like that. I believe what I believe and I stand 10 toes down. And the reason why, because our cause is right, what we believe in is right, and if we would just stand for what's right, we're going to be all right. So what I'm telling you, that as we go forward here, if we stand together on the things that we know, that we learned at the dinner table, we're going to be all right. I don't want to go all off into the platitudes, but we have to realize that at the end of the day, in order to make Jackson better, we have to stand stronger in our individual beliefs. And many times we try to acquiesce to those things that we know aren't quite right because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm going to be the feeling hurt. That'll be my job. But at the end of the day, think about what we're going to have. What I'm asking of you to give me plausible deniability when the media is pilloring me about my position on whatever, dealing with the homeless or whatever. Give me some wiggle room. And then over time, we're going to see this thing grow together. Now, having said all that, when I mentioned about Canton and I mentioned about Nissan, the reason why that city has not grown, as opposed to all the rest of them, is because you have one individual. And let me just say this here. I know Dr. Truly, I don't have any problem with him. He's a good man. But you have a lot of people throughout our society who are beholden to various organizations and individuals. Soros, NAACP, Southern Poverty Law Center, ACL. Doesn't make a difference. The bottom line is Mississippi Development Authority, Continental Tire, Amazon, Nissan, they're all saying we want good schools for our kids. And when you have a city or municipality that won't provide it, everything will grow up just around, in all the areas around you. And that's what you're seeing. That's why Jackson is. Because Jackson, I'm not opposed to public schools, but I'm opposed to schools that don't perform. The schools have to produce a student that's capable of handling themselves at the end of the day at 18 years old when they come out. They're teachable. And then they have to produce a student that society can benefit from. I heard Grant Callen say that to one of the person he was interviewed from the state legislature. And I thought about it, I said, that's right. But it's not just in the schools. All of us have to start respecting the common areas. These kids' education is the common areas of the life that we all are going to have to experience as they come around us and we go around them. So that's why it's important that we insist that we have the better schools. The schools have to get better. We need choices. Whether it's charter schools, public schools, or private schools, they got to be better schools. And we cannot waver on that. We get the schools squared away, we're going to solve a lot of the economic problems that we say we have. And again, Governor Bryant and Governor Reeves and whoever else brought Nissan in, they have done their part. But we haven't done our part on the local level, insisting that these schools get better. Well, Kim, what are you going to do about it? We're going to, like I told you earlier when I started out, we are living below our home training. In order for a child to learn, it's got to be disciplined in the classroom and in the school. Things you're going to do, the things I will be doing, the things you're going to hear me talk about over the next 4 years would be things that don't cost a dime. These are rule changes. If the public schools would just allow the teachers, I know this sounds trite, just allow the teachers to have absolute control over who gets to sit in that classroom. Let's save the 24 students and sacrifice the one, that one little knucklehead that doesn't want to be in there. Let the principal have it. You ain't got to put him out of the school, because then you're going to invite the lawsuits for putting out, you didn't put out a green one as opposed to a blue one and all that kind of foolishness. So let the principals with the white shirts on handle that. They got their job because they said what great people they were handling at-risk kids and all that foolishness. Well, now it's time to put them to the test. So we saved the 24 students. What happens then? You're going to cut down on the number of juvenile delinquents when you have kids who can read and write at grade level. And then when you get the kids and you cut down the number of juvenile delinquents to a number that society can absorb, because right now, we can't absorb it. You see them laying on the sidewalks. You see them standing out in front of the convenience stores. These are people, many of them aren't really mentally ill necessarily. They're just adults who are embarrassed at the fact that they can't read or write and they can't perform in life. So if we can just cut down that number, we're moving toward and moving in the right direction. That doesn't cost a dime, but you got people, again, who have vested interest in the educational arena, and they don't want to change, but they're asking us to keep paying for it. It goes back to what I was saying about the Nissan thing, where they got the job training program, they got the jobs, Nissan's donating money to the schools, what else they got? Giving away vans to the nonprofits, etc. So at what point do they stop and give us a score? And that's what I'm saying. Give us a score. Let's find out what's going. Maybe you do need help in another area, or but they don't even want to talk about it. You know why? Because they're comfortable. That's their economy. That's their ecosystem. And that's what I'm talking about bringing as mayor. We're just going to do things better. I'm going to cater to the people who make the city work, not to the exclusion of those who can't help themselves. But we're at a point now where we're blessing people off the inside of the cup. And you bless people with the overflow that comes out of the cup. And that's what we're going to get back to, having an overflow in which we can bless others. But we cannot have those who are in need of our help dictate to us how things are going to be done. We're going to have to be the adults. And this is what I'm talking about. We're going to bring to the city of Jackson. We're going to bring some order. So as it relates to education, if they would just do that, the teachers who like to teach but just can't put up with getting pushed around by the students, they put the student out today, they're back in there tomorrow. My thing is that teacher has absolute control. The only person to get that child back in school is Jesus or the parents. They're going to have to sit in there with that child. Many of you grew up in the country. If your dad had to leave that field to come sit with you in the school, how many days would he do that? How many days would you survive if he didn't? So this is what remember what I told you? We're living below our home training. We know better. We just have to insist. It's not rocket science. But you got to be strong enough to stand 10 toes down and say, I don't care how they do it at down the street. At 123 Main Street, we're doing it this way. So if we take those little steps like that, like I said, the first 4 years, it's not going to require a whole lot of anything other than tightening it up, quit wasting the money. In many cases, just stop doing the stupid stuff. I was talking with a gentleman, a lawyer. He said, Kim, I think you're wrong about your oppositions to the mayor's handling of the garbage contract. He said the garbage contract was coming up in 10 years, the 10 years was coming up anyway. I said, well, that's a valid point the mayor made. He never made that point. I said, but now, my problem with the mayor and the contract was the fact that in the process of him trying to give to Richards, or however, whatever language he wants to use, it cost us $1 million in legal fees. That's the kind of foolishness that's going to end day one. All the money that goes to consultants, it's going to end. We're going to put it towards public works. So that's the educational component. If you get the educational component squared away with the teachers having control of the classroom, we're going to get those teachers who truly love to teach to come back. We get the quality teachers to come back, because if they say, look, if I can put up with the principal after the kids leave, I can deal with the homework and the paperwork later on in the evening, yada, yada, yada. I can't be dealing with all this chaos in my classroom. If we can get these schools, let's just use Callaway, North Jackson, and Kirkston, up to a level 5. You're going to see all that land in North Jackson start filling in with market rate houses. Market rate houses is going to be the key on how I would measure a success as mayor. When you start seeing people coming in and building a house because they want to be there, not because you're getting a subsidy, maybe you're on your way. I see, in order to make Jackson work, we need to have this marriage between the business community and the real estate community. I don't know stocks and bonds, I know real estate. And so we're going to bring that, we're going to take the people who want to be in Jackson, do the market rate housing, get the schools together, and then you're going to see a lot of things start solving itself. Because at the end of the day, no matter who stands before you, talk about their mayoral run, if they don't have a way to finance it, they're blowing smoke. All they're saying is, I want a job. Bruh, I do not. Look, Me losing, I don't lose. I don't have to win. The people who want the status quo have to defend it, because I'm bringing some ideas that are going to work. Not because I'm such a great guy. No, they're working in Madison. They're working all over the country. They brought us here. That's how America became so prosperous, with those things that we learned at the dinner table 40, 50 years ago. And we walked away from that because somebody else has told us, well, you can do this. And no. We're going back to the old ways. Now, having said that, on the educational front, when it comes to crime, people want to say crime is out of control. Crime is not the worst thing that's happening in Jackson. The problem in Jackson is trash, poverty of the spirit. If you clean up the trash, you're gonna have, well, this broken window there, in essence. Start cleaning it up, start demanding, because right now, we don't demand enough of people to respect the common areas of our community and the common areas of our life. The crime cameras they got up there, believe it or not, you could take some of that crime money that they spend on crime and direct it towards cleaning up the trash, because that's all part of it. You put the cameras, put some trail cameras up there where they've been dumping this stuff, and I get the city council, say, look, what you do, pass an ordinance saying we are looking for people to help clean up Jackson, and this is how you qualify. Get caught dumping. When we catch you dumping, you have entered into a contract. It's like stepping on a J4J bus. You drop that money in there, you entered into a contract. We catch you dumping, you've committed your trucks, your men, to a month's worth of service picking up stuff, doing what we tell you to do. Oh, that'll get their attention. So there's a lot of things that we can do that doesn't cost any money. There's money tied up in Jackson just in attitude, in gratitude. If Jackson would just be more thankful. When the governor came in and fixed the water situation, we were bumping around here for years, drinking dirty water. And now once the governor got involved, oh, well, he's the problem. They need to, no. See, that spirit, we got to tamp that down. We're going to work with people to make this city work. There are a lot of people who want to see this thing work, but they want to put labels on it. This person's red or this person's, no. We're not doing that anymore. We're going to work with people who want to work with us. The biggest thing that I see Jackson can do is spend the next 4 years doing what we can for ourselves. Picking up the paper, picking up the trash, doing all those things. And when the state sees us doing better, we ain't got to go down there demanding and being on the court steps, all bowled up and looking crazy and all that. No, just go down and say, look, this is what we've done, but we're going to go down there with our paperwork in order. So again, generally accepted accounting principles, getting the departments running again, delivering services. I was talking with a lady, I went to a housing conference a couple weeks ago, and she's the lady who deals with the city on housing issues. She said, it's a mess. She said, we've given them so much money over the years, they've never been able to turn it into housing. So that's going to end. Because we're going to get some people in there. See, what has been happening is the grants come down, they put somebody over the grant, and that person's trying to hook up people in their circle who's not in a position to get hooked up. They ain't got no money to prime the pump, they ain't no money to get things done, and nothing's getting done. All that's going to end. Now, I've had some people say, ain't nobody going to work with you. You want those conservatives, you vote. Well, I tell you what, like I told them, you don't have to. If need be, I'll go out and get white boy Bob to do the job. We'll hire him, and then we're going to be able to point back and say, were you the problem? Because it's working now. They don't want to hear that, but that's what we're going to do. No other candidate is going to say that. No other candidate is going to do that. 33 years I've been taking slings and arrows about me being Uncle Tom. I don't care. I'm not putting up with this crap. I'm not going to live like this anymore. And all you're doing is enjoying the good life, slamming Cadillac doors, drinking champagne, and these kids are running around here ready to stick a gun in our ribs. We're not going to continue doing this. So it's going to make some people mad, but guess what? They don't seem to mind that we're mad. So having said that, that's on the crime issue. So as we start to clean things up, and then when the police know that we have their back, what I've said to the police officers, give me plausible deniability. If a police officer, you will not get penalized for turning your camera on or off. Because sometimes you need to turn the camera off and explain to the guy, look, in my precinct, we don't do this. And you tell them in a language that they understand. Well, what about their rights? What about my rights? Because if they had the opportunity, they would crack me in my head and take everything I had. So, I've also told the police officer, now it cuts both ways. Having that camera on can exonerate you or can implicate you. So you make the decision, but I want them to have those choices. We're not going to be hand-tying their arms every time they go out and have some little young punk, pushing them around, things like that. I don't want to see anybody abused, but right now I'm feeling abused. So I asked the question, what about me? If I can't get no satisfaction, you're not going to get any. So we're going to tell the police officers to do that. And once they, like the teachers, once they start having a work environment that they can enjoy and appreciate going to, yeah, you're going to start seeing some changes. And as it relates to crime, because think about what the police officer, do we really need to arrest everybody that they come in contact with to get caught up in a system that's not moving? If they can explain, because the guy who's doing something that he shouldn't be doing, he's glad not to go to jail, but he's also know, well, I don't want to be in this precinct. I don't want to be where this guy is. That's, at this point, that's the best we can do. So as we continue to work with the police officers and give them what we need, we're going to be able to hire more officers. We're going to be able to hire more officers as we start seeing the tax base increase. My goal is to increase the tax base, the ad valorem value of our property taxes, 10% a year going forward. And then you can project out, okay, if present trends continue in the fourth year, we have the money to start working on that jail. We have the money to do this, that, and the other. But the main thing we need to do the first 4 years is just clean up the attitude. There's one young lady, I was telling you about the HUD lady, she was saying she knows one of her friends who works for the city. I go to work, I don't have anything to do. They don't tell us what to do. That's leadership. And I'm sure there's others out there with that same issues. And this is what I'm saying, we're gonna come in and give them direction. At the end of the day, I need 4 council people. I need to get elected, but after I get elected, you know who? I need to have those 1,000, 2,000 city workers rolling in the same direction. So there'll be monthly meetings, bi-weekly Zoom calls or whatever, so we'll all be on the same page, letting them know you're not getting a raise simply because you've been there 30 years, you're getting a raise because we are doing better as a city. They got to buy into it. There's something for everybody to do to make this city better, from the homeless to the business person. The homeless can make their contribution by just not throwing trash down. We're going to let them know, hey, you're bringing this harassment on yourself. You need to police your county. Because the way things have been done, they keep coming back to us telling us that what we're not doing right. You guys need to give up your gun rights because our kids are killing themselves. Wait a minute. I'm tired of giving up my rights. We're going to ask that you make some adjustments. The convenience store owners, they're being asked to put up cameras and everything. All that's very good, but we've got to start asking the citizens, wait a minute, we need a better customer. We need a better student. And they're telling us that we can't have it. So basically, we're being told that all we're here for is basically just to fund, give them money. We're not doing that. That's why I said I'll be the standard bearer for that. I'm not coming in there trying to harm anyone. I just want them to know that folks come to the table. We're first of all, we don't have to apologize or explain. We've been toting everybody all these years. We just want a scorecard. We just update us on what's going on. Now, having said that, about the infrastructure, at the end of the day, I was talking with Mayor Wyndham, and he was talking about some software that they use over there to help pull it all together, what needs to be done, when, and yada, yada, yada. He says all his building inspectors for the permit department, they all have degrees in construction, etc. That's what we're going to. It's not going to be the friend thing. The friend, if he's working there, he's going to have to go back to school and get his credentials. So we're going to have some folks who are not going to come out there and harass folks. You see many city workers riding around in these cars. I'm saying they got to just be going out to harass people. When I say harass, in the minds of the people they're going to see. Under Kim Wade administration, when they knock on your door, Mr. Reeves, what can we do to help you get in business? Not what are all the things you're doing wrong. That's not the approach we're going to take. What we want to do the first 4 years is change the perception. Then you're going to start seeing the momentum, because there are people who want to stay in Jackson. There are people who want to make Jackson work. And we're going to be catering to those folks, not the folks who Again, we done moved them out of one subsidized housing to another. Then this house, now this subsidized housing is inhabitable. So no, we're not going to keep doing that. We're going to say, look, we're going to help you one time. Make good of it. If not, you're not getting in the back of the line, you're getting out of the line. You figure it out. We've been more than generous, but we're allowing the slowest wagon in the wagon train to run things. Now, as we talk about the infrastructure, we're going to be bringing in the software to look at the streets and try to get ahead. There's nothing Jackson Water can do when a water main breaks up on newly paved roads. We hate to see that. We wonder why it's happening. There are software out there to kind of calculate, and we're going to be doing a lot of things like that, just basically getting a handle on things. What I would do, the money the mayor is spending on security for his family and himself, I would take those salaries and hire a city manager, facto or de facto. My job would be to go around with a hammer and get everybody in gear who's not in gear. His job is to work the day-to-day, keep the numbers and stuff going, and give me an overall view. I'm a big numbers guy, I'm a big picture guy. Because I can see it, I can understand. Now my wife Nicole, she would want to know where's that penny at on the check. That's not me. But I was talking to Mary Hawkins, she said, Kim, I'm the same way. I'm not a numbers person, but I know numbers, but I get people in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to hire people who are competent. We're going to be heavy on the accounting CPA backgrounds. Yes, sir. Because one of the things we want to be able to do when we have a Magic Johnson come to the city, and we know that he does investing, etc. We're not going to say, brother man, you need to invest in Jackson. No. Hey, give this portfolio, get this binder to your bean counter and look at those numbers, because we got some projects you might want to consider. But we're going to do things in order. It's not rocket science. Now, let me tell you something regarding the city government employees. Nobody gets fired. Everybody gets to keep the job who's doing the job. Here's where you get fired at. If your name comes across my desk 2 times, Mr. Reeves called, Mr. Walford called. Man, I had a problem with this guy, and when I find out it's outside of the protocol, see, we want to hold the police officers to the protocol with all the other employees, they get to skate. No, we're going to do some ISO 9000 type governance. I'm your customer, he's my customer, the whole 9 yards. And those of you who've been in the corporate world know what ISO standards are. We're going to be approaching it from that standpoint. Now, for the city employee that cannot be fired if he does something that requires them to be fired or they should be fired, we're going to put them on my research team. They're going to spend their entire day reading manuals, and then at the end of the day, they're going to give me a book report. Because sometimes the business they run off is their salary. It'd be cheaper to let them just sit there in the office all day. But once the message gets out that, oh, you don't want to do that, all we're trying to do is get people to understand. You know what? And this is the question I ask people, particularly black people who are mad at me because of my conservatism. I'm asking the question. New Orleans has fumbled the ball. It's a crime capital. Memphis, Atlanta, Houston, all these cities. Why do we have to follow that? Why can't we be different? We're going to work with people who want to work with us. I don't care what color you are. I hear this stuff all the time. People say, well, you know, I went to this event and I was the only person there of this gender, this color. I wasn't raised like that. I was raised where I can go in any group because I've been taught home training and feel comfortable. So we got to get by this stuff that, oh, somebody's holding you back. The only thing that's holding you back is that you're hanging around with people with a negative attitude. And what I see in this room here is people who want this city to work. And those are the ones that we're going to be working with. I tell people all the time, I had one guy, he constantly texts me. I said, bro, I don't want your vote. Because I don't want you in my foxhole and in my camp. You will come over later on once things start getting better. You'll come on anyway. But right now, you're just being an antagonist, which is fine. But at the end of the day, we got to realize we're not going to get everybody. I'm looking for 50 plus 1 on election day. Okay? And then the next 4 years, then okay, we can go, but then they'll start to see. That's what Jake was saying. He said, Kim, he said, man, the first 4 years, all the people who had voted against me, yada, yada. He said, but they slowly came over once they start seeing the results. I promise you folks, this is not about me. I don't do government contracts. I had a person who I've known since I've been in Jackson. He's a lawyer. He's not political, but his family's political. And he saw me at Chancery down on one of Walter's projects. He saw me at the Chancery Court. He said, yeah, I heard you think about running. He said, I'm gonna tell you something. He said, I'll vote for you. He said, I've been knowing you, and I've been in the town my whole life. He said, I've never heard your name associated with anything, somebody stealing anything. He said, I don't agree with your politics, and I'm not going to steal. I just know that there's so much that can be had if we grow this pie. It's not rocket science, but we're allowing the loudmouths, of course, I'm one of them, I'm a talk show, but we're allowing the loudmouths to dictate, and they don't have anything to offer. And again, they're making a good living at this stuff. And so having said that, the overall, people talk about bringing people together. I can only bring people together who want to have a better quality of life in Jackson. Those are the only ones I can work with. If you're not, you're the opposition. And I don't want you to be the opposition. I want you to want better. And I don't want you to impede my efforts to have better. Telling me that, well, you know, you don't really care. I don't want to hear a grown man talk about, I don't like him. I'm 68 years old. What am I going to say? You don't like me. What? Dude, grow up. We need more maturity. And so what I'm saying is the overarching picture is to improve the quality of life in Jackson. If we do that, this is how we're going to do it. I'm telling the council people, financially this is not feasible, but this is the goal we want to go in. I want the councilmen and women to know that I want them to have their own public works group for each department, for each ward. So when they get hemmed up in Kroger's, see right now, they got to call the mayor. Mayor, my constituent saying there's flooding over here, yada, yada. Well, you didn't vote for my stuff the last time. I don't know if I'm going to do this. We're not going to do that. So when the council people know that, hey, they can get things done, because we're all in this together. Over each council person in the meeting, I'm going to have their share of the budget. If we got $1 million broken up 7 ways, that's how much you need to be generating out in your ward every year. And so, Bellhaven calls and says, hey, we need some pothole repair over here. And I'm thinking, okay, Bellhaven has a strong neighborhood association, so I'll tell Bellhaven this here. But tell you what, you get together the crew, you sweep out all the potholes on Friday. Saturday, I'm sending my crew over there with the asphalt, put it in, tap it down. We can't afford all the government that's needed to fix all the problems we have. So we're going to need more volunteers, and that's part of the program that I'm going to be bringing in 4 years. I'm asking, this is going to be controversial, but I think it'll pass legal muster. We're going to revamp set-asides, whatever they want to call it, set-aside programs on the contracts. Whoa, that's the third rail, Kim, you can't do that. Well, let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to invite people. If you want to do business with the city, you can earn some Kim coins, okay? By doing volunteer work. Like, let's use Bellhaven and Hemphill. They said they needed the potholes filled. I called Hemphill and said, you know, we got a project over here. You can send some trucks over there on Saturday. You can earn some points. So when they get ready to make a bid, they'll have some Kim coins they can basically, instead of saying we're going to give you extra points because you're a female or because you're trans or you're black or what, no. Anybody can get these points. I don't know how I can get any fairer than that. If you want a leg up in the bidding process and you volunteer, you can volunteer to do after school. You make a decision, but we cannot afford all the government that's needed to solve all the problems people are complaining about. If we do that, we can, number one, I believe that will pass legal muster because nobody's being excluded. You just want somebody to give you a contract and give you some extra points. We out of time?
Not out of time.
I'm sorry.
No, we just want to be able to.
Oh, ask some questions?
Ask some questions.
Well, and I'm glad you would, because the reason why I can better explain the platform if you ask me questions.
Exactly.
Yes, go ahead.
I mean, you've given us so
Yeah.
much to think about.
Well, I'm going to talk to you. You gave me a mic, so I'll just.
We're limited by the cord. Welcome. We definitely want to hear from you.
I just have a question. Great hearing from you again.
Yeah, good.
Obviously, you got to work with council.
Yes.
What's your strategy work together with council, because you're not going to get anything done in the relationship they've got today.
Right. That's the reason why I was saying about trying to give them their own public works. Certainly, right now they don't have access to the department heads unless they go through the mayor's office. They'll have direct access. They won't have to call me and say, "Can I talk to your public works guy?" They can talk to them. That's foolish anyway. I mean, the mayor can't run the city obviously by himself. So that's my strategy. If they want more independence, this is how you're going to get it.
Pardon me. The cord only goes so far, so if you could maybe come to the center. We definitely want to hear the question, please.
Yeah, I got a question.
Sure. Hey, boy.
Fred Shanks. What you said on the state level, absolutely. We want that.
Right.
We want you to ask for it.
Right.
Repeat it.
One thing, when you get it,
Come on up to the mic. I can barely hear you.
Please come to the mic.
what I like to see is that
You go back to the commissioner form of government instead of the council. Because I think it could work then, and the grafts and the stealing and all that started with the councils.
Right.
So that's just my 2 cents on that.
And many have spoke on that, and that's one of the things when they talk about going to the city manager, strong council, that people are still corruptible. My thoughts are, because I know what my intentions are and why I'm running, I'm not going to do any stealing. I'm not going to let any stealing be done on my watch. But you're right, that would be the more getting it done and having that battle in light of all that we're fighting right now is the question. Right.
believe in
Appreciate you.
To come to the center, please. I can only strip the cord doesn't come there. Come on. Please step up.
Hey, Kim, repeat the question.
Okay.
Just curious, day one, week one, what are your first priorities when you go in?
Day one, week one. The overall is trying to instill, money goes where it feels comfortable. So I'm trying to restore faith in Jackson, its systems. So everything that I do is going to be towards that. All my policies are going to flow from two things: what's good for kids and what's good for property values. You take care of the kids and their interests, you're taking care of the future, you take care of the property values, you can fund those things that require for a better future for the kids. So that's what we're looking at, is trying to restore confidence in Jackson. Because right now they don't have it, and they just see it's a clown show. Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel a real strong importance of the library system? Right now, I'm seeing the structure fund ignored. Just don't move. And I'm sorry, I'm still changing.
She's asking about the library system, its condition, and whether or not that would be a priority in my tenure. Absolutely. One of the things, and see, that goes back to what Jake Wyndham was saying over there in Pearl. He said many of these departments don't have any structure. You got to go back in and put in controls. Everybody's just collecting a check at this point. Everybody's got a title. Nobody's accountable, and you got to bring that back. And we're going to obviously have to scale down, because right now we're on basically a cracker and cheese diet as far as finances is concerned. But we can work our way out, and that's one of the things that I see being able to bring, and that is people have confidence that we're moving in the right direction. That may not be on the first 1 or 2 years in terms of being able, but we're going to try to get the libraries back open, at least a couple of them where the kids, people have access to. There's really no reason. That was all neglect. Think how long the library on Northside Drive been sitting there, then all of a sudden, a heavy rain, it's flooded and they can't use it anymore. It's been raining since they built the library. But then again, nobody's accountable. And this is what we're going to get back to. One of my pet peeves are the quality of the parks here. I've spoken with Mayor Phil over there in Clinton. My goal is to make this Metro Jackson. People, Jackson, we got to be on. I appreciate that, but see, you blew that opportunity. So we're going to have a Metro Jackson, so when you have family and friends in, there's a weekend worth of things that you can do here in Jackson. Or you can go to the amphitheater in Brandon, you can go to Outlet Mall in Pearl, or the park that Phil's talking about is going to be a it's going to be a beautiful park. But part of it will be in Jackson, and all they're asking is that they have police powers in that part of Jackson. Do it. Because people want to be safe. And the mayor saying, well, what you gonna give us? This mayor said, what you gonna give us? Dude, I understand his viewpoint, but everything is not like that. We got to build a better quality of life. And if Byron gets its own, let's say, water system that they're trying to get, yes, we're gonna lose revenues, but we set up there and let things get to the point that it is where they want to leave. So, but if Byron grows and they started building more houses down there, the county's gonna get tax dollars. We'll still be beneficiaries of it. So we have to just be mindful that, dude, all this whining is not the way forward. In terms of, well, if we whine long enough, they'll give us, no, we're not. We're gonna stand up like men and women with our shoulders squared and our chest out and do this thing in good order.
What about the zoo?
The zoo will, look, the animals are sending me emails, please get us out of here, please. No, the zoo, look, what I would like to do with the zoo and this property, obviously, is move it to the floors or wherever they say they want it and can afford to do it. This is a numbers thing. These folks are getting all into their feelings. And, dude, if you wanted something different, you'd have done something different. You can't just say, well, it's a black thing or it's a, no. We're talking, if it doesn't paper out, it's got to go. So we'll get the zoo wherever someone is willing to fund it. Right now, we cannot afford to spend $2 million on just limping along like this. Now, I would take that land over there, I'd build a jail on it. I'd build 5 stories below ground and 5 stories above ground. And I have picnic ground all around on the outside. And I'm serious, and that's the other thing about the jail. We want to get to the point where we're going to be able to fund a new jail, but we can't do it presently right now. So that's why we have to attack other areas. I want to build prosperity out from where it exists right now, too. In those communities where they're trying to have something. I would like Bellhaven to get to the point where they improve the quality of life over there so much there's no vacant lots left. And every new business that came in as a result of their efforts, every new business got established after they made that quality of life improvement. I would give them 1 cent out of every sales tax dollar directly to the Bellhaven community or directly to that ward. And the purpose of that is to create competition. They would take that 1 cent, if they wanted to put it into potholes, if they wanted to put it into a community park, because once they're squared away, we won't have to fool with them for a while. We can concentrate on South Jackson. I want to see the same thing for Swan Lake, for Heritage Hills, for Woodleaf, for Norwood, and all these other things. But we got to start getting some competition. I'm a capitalist. I believe in the free enterprise system. And I'm all for helping my fellow man, but that's giving people, that's blessing them on the outside of what comes out, on the saucer. You know, when you drink your coffee, you got that coffee in the bottom. That's what my grandmother used to give me. You sit there, Mom, can I have some coffee? She take a little bit off out of the saucer. And that's what we do. We got to get the harvest in. Right now, the harvest is real thin. But it's not impossible. It's just that we got so many people who are naysayers, they don't believe. But I'm saying, why can't we be the first city that's majority black that operates in the black and it's on the incline financially? What's wrong with that? Why am I experiencing all this opposition? Because what I know, I don't know, I had a bookkeeper when I first got in and started doing business, Mr. Edom. He told me, matter, that's my partner right there with the hat on there, Tony. He told me and Tony sit back there. He said, you guys, I see young black guys come in here and they start their business, in 2 or 3 years, they fighting at each other, yada, yada. He said, what I've seen is you match them up with a white guy, everybody gonna make money. And I'm not saying it to be racial, I'm saying that, guys, we're gonna do the things that work. This guy's sitting here running the camera, walking. This he's probably made more millionaires, black and white, in this city. I don't know who's done more. And he's doing it because he's giving away free information. Those are the people we're going to be working with to make this city grow. We're not going to deal with the sore heads. I'm sorry. You're going to get last. Not that you're not going to get any service, you're just going to get it last because we can't afford it. We're on the knife's edge right now. So I'm just saying, for those who believe, we can make this happen. I'm looking for 50+1 on election day. I don't want everybody. I would like to have everyone, but that's not realistic. There's enough people in this city who don't vote. If they just came out and voted. When I spoke with Jake today, he gave me access to a database. Dude, we're going to be narrowly focused on the folks who going to vote. All I need is the volunteers. I need some data massagers. I need some folks in the legal community who can help us reestablish the neighborhood association. That's something Leland was real big on when he was alive, trying to reestablish the neighborhood association, because we got to have codes. We got to, we talked about cleaning up trash. The people who insist on having all the junk cars and all the debris in their yard, we're going to classify those as rummage sales and car lots, and make them get commercial electric, commercial water, and commercial gas. You pay a commercial electric bill one time. Okay, am I right, Cole? These electric bills get high and these commercial bills don't. So if you do that to a homeowner, yeah, I think we need to get this trash out the yard. So there's ways of doing things. We just got to start thinking about things differently. I say the first 4 years, we ain't got to be beating people over the head. We're going to do it through the ordinances. And Jake was saying that, they used to have the officer go out and talk with them. Said, Miss Vickery, we really need you to get that couch off the front porch and out the yard, yada, yada, yada. I'm getting around to it. I'm taking it apart piece by piece. So he comes back, still ain't gone, so she's going to have a notice on her door. She'll be in court 30 days from now. You're just going to have to enforce these things. Everybody's not going to be happy, but they'll be happy where they end up, because they like it when they cross over County Line Road, they're not throwing out the Wendy's bags. And that's one of the things, as you make contributions to the campaign, you know what I'm going to do with it? You're not going to see my campaign posters out there with my big lemon head up there smiling at you, no. What you're going to see is that money on TV. You're going to see my friend Bernard, he came in here, there he is over there. That's him from the radio show, Bernard that calls in. What we're going to do, I'm going to get him on a front loader, and we're going to start cleaning up these neighborhoods, and the mayor going to come out there and say, hey, you don't have a permit. And I'm going to have WLBT or one of the news stations say, yo, did you get that? We're cleaning it up, and he's complaining. So we're going to get on them front loaders. A lot of people don't clean the grass in between their yard, curb, and the street. We're going to get their front loader and scrape all that stuff up. But we're only going to do it in those neighborhoods where we're invited in. So if Bellhaven calls me and say, look, come over here and clean ours up, because the only condition we'll do, that we'll offer is if we clean it up, would you help maintain it? I was up at Renaissance a couple weeks ago. I was sitting out just enjoying the weather. And a young fellow, about 5 or 6 years old, threw a styrofoam cup down. In my eyesight, there was the corner of the building, so I couldn't see his family. I said, hey, young man, pick that up. So he picked it up. His eyes got big. He picked it up. I said, throw it away. So the garbage can was right where I was sitting. So he came over to it. I said, pick that other piece up while you're on your way over here. So he picked it up. And he stared at me the whole time and threw it in there. Then he ran back. So his mama comes storming out the building, out the store. Left you telling my child, you have my child looking up at me? I said, yeah, he threw it down. I mean, she was in fight mode. And so we talked about it. And I said, look, your child is no shorter, no taller. I said, he needs to know that you don't throw things down. And finally, she calmed down, and when they came back past, he was grinning, and they were like, she was happy. But many people have never been told no. So this goes back to what I said. We got to get people respecting the common areas of our life. This stuff sounds trite, but this goes back to what I was saying earlier. We have our leaders living below our own home training. We cannot allow that. I am a living tombstone to my parents and to memorial of those who are of her generation. I cannot allow this to go forward and not say anything. Well,
I have been given a horrible job of
shut
making you be quiet.
Tune in tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Okay, this is a foretaste of what's coming, and I think we are let's give him a round of applause. Okay, the first Thursday in June, we're at the Police Academy on St. Charles. You notice that Jackson has got 7 wards. We are not trying to focus on any one ward. Do you understand that? Please get the word out. It's all of Jackson that needs educating. It's all of Jackson that needs to be learning and helping and volunteering. And so Kim has explained that, I think, very well to us this evening. So June, we will be at the Police Academy again. In September, we have that. In June, we're going to have 2 city councilmen speaking. We'll be Vernon Hartley and Ashby Foote. That ought to be kind of interesting, having the two together. And come with your questions, be ready. And Kim wants to sit, and I'm going to give him that privilege right now.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say, encourage your community groups, and I've mentioned this to Val. Rather than just have me or a candidate come up there and blow smoke at you, why don't you have a mock city council meeting with your concerns? Say, city councilman, mayor, this is what we want this, and see if you can, because if you got the candidates for council and the candidates for mayor one at a time, then you'll know, okay, on a scale of 5 questions, they got 4 that we can agree on, that's my candidate. Because otherwise, everybody's going to say, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm not. I'm going in there to basically just try to stabilize it, and not on my own power. My biggest fear is that I will use I and my too much when I'm talking to people. Because this is a we and our things. We got to increase the livability and the quality of life in Jackson. It's possible, but we got to stand stout for that which is right. I appreciate you coming out, God bless. There's bumper stickers and if you want to volunteer.